Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Q&A session on financial reporting. So we're here today to answer all of your questions. I am Sigolène, and I will be moderating this session today. I have, of course, some colleagues behind the screen with me. So I have Ola Alexandra here that you can see, and Ilaria, who will be answering your questions live. We also have other colleagues behind the screens answering your questions in Slido, so Camille and Alexi from the finance team. And we have some colleagues helping us with the technical side, so Mia and Petra, and also Etienne for the policy officers who will be following us. All right, so for the questions, we'll be using Slido. So whenever you, we already receive some questions, so thank you for that. But if you have other questions to ask us, you can directly ask them within Slido. So you can use this QR code that you can see on the screen, or otherwise you directly go to slido.com and you use the hashtag Interreg Europe. We also send the links directly in the chat so that you can click on it easily. All right, so that's for the technical instructions. Then before starting with the questions, would like to do a little poll. So let's see what you're up to. Have you already started working on your financial report? So are you ready with your list of expenditures, or are you still waiting a little bit? Would like to know where you're up to. So you can see this little poll opening a little box to answer these questions. Just as an information in the meantime, this session will be recorded. So don't worry, you'll have all the information and you'll have access to it afterwards also on our website. All right, let's see with the poll. Okay, so we can see that, well, the vast majority of you have already started working on their financial reports, which is good because it's the time to do so. So that's really good. And well, for the others, we hope this session will be useful and that you'll be able to start really soon afterwards. All right, I'm done with this little introduction. So now let's dive into the questions. Let's see now in Slido. Okay, so we'll take them one by one. Let's see first, what are the requirements for external expertise and other purchases made? What documents should I include? So supporting documents, maybe Ila, you can take that.
Yes, so thank you for this rather general question. So, of course, this would depend on the type of cost, the type of service, but in general terms, what are the supporting documents required for the cost that you report in external expertise and services are, well, for example, if you followed some procurement rules to contract the supplier, to contract the provider, you would have to provide evidence that these rules were followed. So what procedure you applied, if there was a contract or a written agreement with the supplier, then this document would also have to be provided to your controllers. Invoices that the supplier issued and that were the basis for paying the cost or request for reimbursement. And also the proof of payment that these costs were paid, and if the supplier provided, for instance, outputs or deliverables, then these deliverables will have to be shown as well to the controller. In general, I also invite you to check the program manual, because for each cost categories, there is really a list. There is a little box where we provide the indication of what type of supporting documents must be provided for each cost category.
All right, thank you very much for this answer. There is another short one for stakeholder travel cost. Do we need also to provide supporting documents for this type of cost? So yeah, I think you also already answered that yes, you need to provide supporting documents, and that's the same procedure, and you can check our program manual. We will also provide the link in the chat if you want to have a look for this type of cost. Then maybe for supporting documents, again, there is another question just below. Is it possible to remove, delete documents when they have been uploaded in the supporting documents section? Maybe to Ola then? Yes, it wasn't possible for a while, but now it is possible with the new version of the system. So if you have been testing and uploading documents that really shouldn't be there, you can now go and delete them. Please remember to delete all the documents before you submit them to the controller, because after you submit the report to the controller, you will not be able to delete them anymore. The controller will be able to delete, if then you would need to inform the person that these are documents submitted by mistake, but it's better to check before submitting to the controller if there's something that you need to remove. All right, so yes, possible to delete documents. Then is there a template for a stakeholder engagement letter? Ilaya, maybe?
Well, for the stakeholder engagement letter, there is no program template, but this is an important point. It also goes back a bit to the previous question that Ségolène addressed. It is true that when you involve the stakeholder, if by stakeholder engagement letter you mean, for instance, some kind of documentation that proves that you invited this particular stakeholder, and that would be also the basis for their cost, for the travel cost to be reimbursed, then this is something that usually should be provided. It doesn't necessarily have to be a letter. It can also be the invitation email, for instance, that you used to invite the stakeholder to the meeting. But there is no template at program level. We also invite to check with your controller what kind of documentation they need to, let's say, prove and to be able to confirm the costs of the stakeholder that traveled to the event.
All right, perfect. So then let's go to staff cost. So we have, since some staff costs did not work in August because they were on holidays the whole month, is it correct not to report their cost from that month? According to our FLC, since staff is a real cost, it is not to be reported for the months where they were not in the office. Do you agree? If Ilaya also wants to take that question.
Yes. So, well, in principle, if the employee, this staff member is clearly linked to the project, they were working on the project a sufficient amount of time, and their involvement in the project is proven and documented in the task assignment letter with a specific percentage, then in principle also these costs could be eligible because this person is working on the project and is working on the project for that period, and this is proven in the task assignment letter. Then we are a bit surprised by this position of the controller. In our experience, what we saw, usually this cost could be eligible, but we invite you to check with your controller what are really the reasons that they are providing to you not to accept these costs.
Okay. Okay, so let's go to the next question. So if we're actually hiring a company through public tender for a multi-year period and payment is yearly, how are we to report the expense? So each 6 months for the financial report, or should we better list the entire cost on the period we cite the contract? Up to you, Ola or Ilaya, if you want to take the question.
Yeah, so I can take this question. Well, you can only report costs that have been paid. They have to be paid in order to be reported. So it is not possible to include the whole costs, the entire cost of the contract if it was not paid. So you should really report the costs linked to this contract when they are actually paid, and only then they can be included. If the payment is every 6 months, then you could include the cost every reporting period, but not in advance. Advance payments are only possible if could only be accepted if it is in line with the accountancy and the common practice of the organization, and the deliverable must be provided at the latest by the end of the project. But in general, you should only report the costs when they have been actually paid.
All right, thank you. So next, stakeholder travel costs are covered under external expertise. We need to show supporting, I think we already answered this question about supporting documents. So yes, you'll need supporting documents for for stakeholder travel and accommodation. So next question will be, our external controller in Spain has not received any training nor any info on how to access the portal. So a portal related question, which will go to Ola. Should we provide the training ourselves and contact the Spanish ministry for their access to the portal? Ola, if you can answer this, to access the portal.
So there are basically two questions. So for access to the portal, yes, the controller or you need to contact the Spanish ministry, because they are the ones who will create the controller's account in the system. So they need to be contacted as soon as possible, actually, so that the controller could gain access to the system. For the training, either the Spanish ministry, the controller, when contacting the Spanish ministry, can ask for some tips. However, we have already organized training for partners and controllers. This training, this webinar was recorded and is available on our website. So the controller can watch this training and can gain the knowledge this way. There are also tutorials for the controllers on the website. So the controller could use these resources that are available for everybody to see how to work in the system.
Okay, perfect. So we'll send you also the link in the chat, or afterwards we'll provide you the link to have access to this webinar about getting access to the portal and how to work a little bit in the portal, depending if you're a partner, a controller, and etc. Then next question, we have a question from Joanna. Can we modify the travel associated cost procedure during the project implementation? So related to the travel and accommodation flat rate, I guess, and if it's possible to change that. Maybe Ilaria want to take that question?
Yes, thanks, Ségolène. No, it is not possible to change the method of reimbursement of the travel and accommodation costs that you indicated in the application form, because it is clearly indicated also in the manual that this change is not possible after the subsidy contract was signed. So it will not be possible to do this during the project implementation.
Thank you. Next question, we have a question from Catalina. It's pretty nice that you put your name. It's better to have a little name behind the question for us. So thank you for that too. So Catalina is asking if the reporting period for Progress Report 3 is March, August 2024, and will the portal allow to submit payments from September or October 2023? So payments from previous periods to be included in PR3. You're already thinking about PR3. Wow. Okay. So maybe Ola, you can take this question.
The answer is simple. Yes. So if you have costs that have been paid in previous reporting periods, they can be reported later. The portal only checks that you're not reporting costs from future reporting periods in the previous reporting period, but the cost can be reported later.
Thank you. Then another question, should we expect a submission date in October or November? It's important because they're applying exchange rate for other currencies than euros. So a question about exchange rate, again, Ola, to answer Robert.
Thank you, Robert, for this question. Yes, we are working on, we are doing on it, and we are doing our best to make it possible. They're the last things that I'm checking, and we want to make it possible for the partners to submit the reports to the controllers before the end of October, which means if you really want to do it, please finalize your report as soon as possible, so that the moment we make the button available, you can just click the button and submit it to your controller. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, the message is we're working on it and try to fill in everything in your financial report so that when we're ready, you can also submit to your controllers as soon as possible. Then we have a question from Emma. If we have to make reallocation between cost categories, do we report them as unplanned costs? What about if we make reallocation inside cost category? For example, external expertise and services, taking money from printing costs to meeting costs. Is it also unplanned costs? So about flexibility and how to report it. Ilaria, can you answer Emma?
Yes, so if costs are reallocated, for example, from the staff cost category to the external expertise and services, and you do not have an existing item that you had planned in the application form that could cover these costs, then yes, you should report the cost as unplanned. You would select in your partner report unplanned item, and then you would provide a description, and you would also have to justify why these costs were needed, but they were not planned. If you shift costs between two items that you had already planned in the application form, so you would spend a bit more in one item compared to another item, then if you exceed the amount that was planned in the application form, you would have to provide a justification on why you need to spend more than what you have originally planned. There would be a justification box below the item where you would have to explain why you spent more than what was planned. In general, shifts between cost categories that are in line with the flexibility rule would have to be also explained. There will be, the lead partner will have the opportunity in the joint progress report, they will have a box in the finance section where they will have to explain all these kind of changes. But for these minor changes in the financial report, then is what I just said. If there is no item from the application form, then you report it as unplanned. You provide a justification. If the item is, if the amount you spend is more than what you planned, then you also provide a justification.
Thank you for the explanation. Then we have some anonymous questions. So let's take anonymous one. Can a task assignment letter be digitally signed after the first progress report? So the letter is dated at the starting period, while the digital signature date has to be made when the letter is signed. Can it be at the end of the semester or beginning of following semester? Okay, so when the task assignment letter has to be signed. Ola, maybe you can take this question.
The task assignment letter has to be signed before, when the controller is checking the expenditure, they check the task assignment letter. So the task assignment letter needs to be signed at that point. So you cannot sign it later than you report costs.
Thank you. Then we have other questions from Anonymous again. So can we have a standard process for LP involvement with each partner's financial report before submission to our FLC? Some want to see in advance, some don't, and others are not clear what to expect. So they are a bit confused on the process and what can lead partner do, see, I guess, in the portal and what can be done. So maybe Olaus again from the portal point of view.
Yes, so each partner reports their own costs. So they create their own financial report and submits their report to their own controller. The lead partner can see the reports that the partners have created in advance. So they see the financial report section and they can access the reports that the partners have created even before they submit to the controller or even before the report is certified. So if the lead partner wishes, they can go and check and advise the partner already at this stage. This just depends on the lead partner. We know that some lead partners like to do this, so we made it possible. Some lead partners don't do this before, and they only check the partner financial reports when they are certified and submitted to them. This depends on the lead partner, whatever they prefer. In any case, they will need to check the certified versions when they are submitted to them. So either they do it twice, once before and once after when it's submitted and ready to go in the joint PR, or they do it just once at the moment that the partners submit the reports to them before they include them in the joint PR.
Thank you very much on this clarification on how the portal work and what the lead partner can see, the partner can do, and how it can be organized. But it's always already up to you then to see how you want to organize yourself. Okay, so we've got another questions with about gifts and gadgets. So could caps for sunny and hot study visit be purchased from the Interreg budget, or would they be considered gifts and gadgets? Ilaya?
I will be quite straightforward on that question. No, they cannot be reported from the project budget, this type of cost. They are indeed considered gifts or gadgets. In any case, they are not eligible, so you should not report them on the project.
Thank you. Anyway, with the weather at the moment in Lille, you won't need any caps or sunny equipment anyway. Again, so a bit similar question on the same topic for us. Can a fabric shopping bag with project logo be considered as marketing material for the site visit project meeting and thus be claimed on the expenditure list? Ilaya, quickly, maybe on this point.
Yes, so this type of material, so a shopping bag with a project logo, is the classic example of what we consider a gadget, a giveaway, which is not accepted in our program. The program has a very strict approach on this type of material, so you cannot cover costs for this material from the project budget.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go to another topic. Then we have a question of flexibility. So also in case of transferring a certain percentage of funds from the first semester to the second semester, do we need to ask GS for permission? And if so, how do we apply for permission at the reporting semester for semester 1, or can we just report less cost for semester 1 and more cost in semester 2? So again, Ilaya, maybe on this flexibility between semesters.
So if, I guess this question is linked to the situation where basically the partner will report less in the first semester than what was planned in the spending plan in the application form. This is something that you will have to justify in the progress report. The lead partner will have to justify in the progress report for each partner why they are spending less than what was planned in the spending plan, especially if the difference is significant. So there is not really a permission to be asked. It's more we want to know the reasons why the partner is behind with their spending. In general, you also have to be careful with this because the program is monitoring the spending of the project and we expect the partners to report in full and fully in line with their spending plan. And also there will be a review of the budget spending with the officers in the JS where we will ask and assess what is the spending of the project by partner. So I mean, in principle, it is possible, it must be justified, but we really expect you to be as much as possible in line with what you indicated in the spending plan for each partner.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll come back to the topic of staff costs. Oh, okay, there's another one popping, so let's take the other one then. We'll come back to staff costs afterwards. So now if we do not have financial costs due to issues in later contracting, should we put only the technical report? Yeah, Ilaya or Ola, which one, whenever. I don't know who wants to take this question.
I'm not sure to understand the technical report. I'm assuming you mean the policy report, like the report on activities. If you don't have any costs in the semester, like 0 costs in a semester, you don't report because there's no need to report to create a financial report if you don't have any costs. But then the policy report activity part will always have to be filled in, even if you have delays in reporting the costs. This is, however, a bit surprising, because even if you have financial delays due to issues in contracting, we would assume that you have some staff costs already. So then if you cannot report certain costs and can report others, you report the ones that you can report, and then the ones that are delayed, you simply put them in the next report the moment the external expertise is contracted and you have the first invoices.
Okay, thank you, Ola. Okay, now let's go to staff costs. So can you confirm that the payroll tax is indeed eligible? During the preparation meeting, several project leaders were surprised because this expense having always been refused this in previous Interreg programs. So about the payroll tax and if it can be included. Ilaria, can you take this question?
Yes, so we are not sure what you refer when you talk about payroll tax, but in general, employment taxes can be eligible if they are not recoverable by the employer. This is, let's say, what is the rule in line with the program rules and the regulation. Now, we know that in some countries, for example, this kind of taxes may be then recovered, and then what it's in the payslip does not correspond finally what the employer pays. In the end, we know, for instance, there were some issues with this with the French partners. So I don't know if this anonymous person is from France, but in general, what we would suggest is that you check with your controller and with your national authorities, because there might be a specific situation for your organization, for your country, where this kind of tax may or may not be eligible. So I would really invite you to check with your national authorities and with your controller if that specific tax can be reported or not.
Thank you very much. So let's stay on staff costs again. And we have two questions about the task assignment letter. So the first one from Anonymous. Can we change the task assignment letter every semester so that the dedication percentage of every worker aligns with the real time worked in that semester? And then another one from Maika Diaz. And when the task assignment letter have to be dated, does it have to be at the beginning of the term? If there are later changes in the employee due to different circumstances. So maybe a little recap about task assignment letters in general. Ola, as you spoke about it a bit before, if you want to take this question.
Sure. The task assignment letter has to be dated at the beginning of the period to which it applies. You cannot sign it retrospectively concerning the period that has just passed. So really at the beginning of the period to which it applies. Then if you can change it, yes, you can change it if the involvement of the person in the project changes. You can change it, for instance, during the annual staff appraisal, but it has to be justified. You cannot just use, you cannot just go and change it every semester to without a proper justification. There really needs to be a change in the tasks of the person concerned. So if the task change, if the time involvement of the person changes, of course you can change the task assignment letter.
Thank you for this explanation on task assignment letters. Then we have a question from Sandra. Only contracts above or equal 10,000 euro without VAT have to be reported in the list of contract of the procurement tab. If the contract is less than 10,000 euro, it's not necessary to include it. So about procurements and the procurement tab that we have in the portal. Ola, again, as it is more related to the portal, if you can answer this.
Short answer, yes, you do not report in the portal contracts for less than 10,000 euros. You don't include them in the procurements tab. This is not in any way a threshold for procurement that we apply on the program level. It is just you need to apply your own thresholds, your institutional thresholds, your national thresholds, or European thresholds, depending on the amount. This 10,000 euro is just a kind of cutoff amount from which we want to see these procurements listed or contracts listed in the portal to make the controller's job easier also.
All right. Then next question is from Maika. So could I describe the summary activities in Spanish? I think it could be correct because it is information for the FLC. Ilaya, if you want to answer this question.
Yes, I understand the question. Of course, we always say that the activity summary, it's really something for the controller to have an overview on the activities that the partner did during the period, so that they can link it to the costs that are reported. However, the official language of the program is English, and then also we would require that you also fill this section in English, because the financial report might be checked, for instance, on a sample basis by other people that don't necessarily speak the language of the partner, like us, for instance, program authorities, other checks that can happen. So that's why we ask you to include this information in English, so that it can be, in principle, understandable, understood by also other people, and considering that the official language of the program is English.
Thank you. So everything in English, that's the conclusion. Then coming back to staff cost, we've got a question on social security contribution. They are always paid 2 or 3 months later. How should we report these personal costs? Again, Ilaya?
Yeah, well, as I said before, when replying to one of the previous questions, costs can be reported if they are paid. So only costs that have been paid can be reported. This applies also to social security contributions. We know that in some countries, in many countries actually, social contributions are often paid after, so they can only be reported when they are paid. If they are paid in the following semester, then they should be reported in the following semester, but they cannot be reported unless they were paid.
Thank you. Then to stay on staff cost and how to report staff cost, we've got a question from Rob. Is it really necessary to send all pay slip and payments per month? So referring to how to report in the portal, which is per month. Ola, if you can explain maybe on this reporting staff cost.
I'm guessing you are referring to the supporting documents, and if it's obligatory to upload all the supporting documents in the system. If this is the question, then yes, for all the costs that you are reporting, for all the staff costs that you're reporting, you will need to upload the corresponding payslip. And you need to report for each person per month, yes.
Okay, thank you. Then next questions, we have Anonymous asking if could we download a template from the list of expenditure, work on it offline, and then upload it with all our data. The tool without duplicating on a logic option is not user-friendly. So there is an advice to work with web developers who could offer this solution. I don't know, Ola, if you've got any ideas or
oh yeah, no, this is a question that we get a lot, and we thought about this solution because sometimes this solution was offered, I don't know what programs they offered, but this is a very bug-prone solution. People, and it also relies a lot on people not making mistakes in the Excel files. So we are not going to do it. This is a definite no. We are not going to allow the upload of Excel that would pre-fill the list of expenditure. Having said that, we know that the list of expenditure is not extremely user-friendly right now because you cannot enlarge fields, you cannot it's not very user-friendly also for us to look at it. What we are doing now, we are finalizing all the necessary basic requirements that we need to be able to do the reporting. And we are done. When we are done with this, I promise you, we will get to the user experience. We want to make the list of expenditure more user-friendly and easy to work with. We just, so we beg your patience. We will get to it and we will make it work better.
Thank you, Ola. So yeah, no Excel upload for now, and we don't envisage that, but we'll make it better. So then we've got questions from Enrico. So Enrico is asking for the expenditure verification documentation. We ask if for documentation where the employment costs are clearly detectable. Is it enough attaching the print of the monthly general employee summary, identifying the total gross salary and social taxes with no pay slips where employee sensitive data are shown? So it will only be a print of the monthly general employee summary. Ilaya, if you want to answer this.
Yes, so in the program manual, we indicate that it has to be either the pay slip or a document where the employment costs are clearly detectable for the specific employee. So if the document clearly shows the monthly salary costs and it can be clearly detectable to which employee these costs are belonging to, then in principle it could be accepted. So now I don't know exactly what type of document, and if the document mentioned by Enrico complies with this. This is probably something that you should check with your controller. But it is important that the salary costs are clearly detectable and can be linked to the specific employee.
Thank you. And the second question from Enrico is again about supporting documents, and is asking whether an employment contract for an employee working on a project may only be submitted once in the first reporting period. Ilaya again to answer Enrico.
Yes, it is the case. In fact, the contract can be submitted only in the first reporting period. In the supporting documents tab, if you worked on it already, you see that there are different tags. Some tags are period 1, period 2, others are cost categories, but there are also tags that are for documents that will only be submitted once, like, for example, the employment contract. So you will not have to upload it in each period. I don't know if Alexandra wants to add something on this on the technical side, but yeah, that's basically it, I think.
No, nothing to add. You answered it perfectly well.
Thank you. I can see also that we have more and more questions coming in, so we'll try to take as many as possible, and you can of course submit more questions if you still have doubts, but we're also replying in written in Slido, and anyway you'll have access to the Slido afterwards, so you have access to the recording of this session and also to our answers in written, so don't worry, you'll have access to all our answers. Okay, so let's keep on with Romain's question. So it's basis and logics of budget allocation per semester. Okay, so general guidance maybe on the allocation per semester and the spending plan, I guess. Maybe Ilaya, if you want to refer to this spending plan on reporting according to spending plan.
Yes, I mentioned this a bit before already. I think I assume the question refers to to the spending plan. So indeed, in the application form, we ask projects to indicate the share of expenditure, the share of the budget by partner they plan to spend in each semester, and then we monitor this during the project implementation. In the progress report, we will see how much expenditure is in reality reported for that period, and if there are differences, we expect that the lead partner in the joint progress report will provide a justification. This is quite important for the program to monitor this. So we also invite you to be careful in trying as much as possible to comply with the spending plan, also because at some point there will be a review of the spending situation of the project during the midterm meeting, and there is also the risk that funds that are not spent on time may be lost and will have to be decommitted from the project. This is so that the program can reuse funds that are not spent by the projects for financing other activities, other projects, so that the funds can still be useful for other activities if the project will not in fact spend them. So this is, I don't know if I answered the question of Romain, but this is also to give you a little bit of background and why we have to monitor quite carefully the spending of the project against what was planned in the application form.
Thank you, Ilaria, for this reminder about a bit the logic of the spending plan. So let's go back to staff cost then with a question from Catalina. So about staff cost, when we insert a line per person per month with the total amount of staff cost, gross salary and social contributions, there are two different dates of payments, one for the salary and one for the contribution. Which one should we enter as the dates of payment? Again, Ilaria?
Yes, so in principle, we would expect that you put the latest date. That seems the more logic thing to do. When it's, we also invite you to pay attention to this towards the end of the period, because as I said before, only costs that were paid by the end of the semester can be reported. So in principle, you can merge this cost, the salary and the social contributions, and then indicate the latest date, unless it is at the end of the period. So the social contributions are paid after, and then you would have to split them because you cannot report them unless they were paid. But this is also quite a detailed question, so we also invite you to check with your controller what they expect you to do in the portal with this, but in the list of expenditure. But this is what we would consider the most logic thing to do.
Thank you. I think there is a question from another anonymous, which was a bit similar. So I hope it was also answered. It was also about social security payable by the company paid in September, and should we include this expense in the first period? So again, you should refer to the dates of payments to know whenever you need to include the associated costs. So then anonymous. Let's take another one from anonymous. Is it possible to omit to report some people in some months to be in line with the previous budgets? So we've got a task assignment letter, which was made before knowing the actual staff costs, and the percentages are higher than needed. We do not want to go overspending. So what should you do if you, in that case? Ilaria, maybe?
Yeah, well, in principle, it is possible to omit expenditures. Of course, this is up to you. It is also possible to overspend if this is justified, of course, by the activities, and this is in line with the project objectives, and you will always need to justify this very well. If we don't want to do it, yes, it is possible, but maybe also to give a bit more of a general question, general reply to this question. Whenever you go above what you were supposed to spend, this is possible if it's justified for the project. It's something you have to discuss also with your lead partner, because there are program rules how to manage this kind of changes during the project, what we call the flexibility rule. It is explained in the program manual. So if you face this type of situation, if this overspending is could be justified, then this is something you should discuss with your lead partner. But to answer directly the question, yes, it is possible to omit expenditures. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Then we've got another anonymous, but a specific one from Spain. Thank you for showing where you're from. So in the list of expenditure, should we include 2 lines per staff per month, so salary and social security, or should we even include 3 lines, salary, social security, and personal income tax, since they are paid at different times? So yeah, I think it's important again to take this question about staff costs, since we have quite a lot of doubts on this. Ilaya?
Yes, I think, as I said before, I think before we had a similar questions. I mean, in principle, you could put this together, this type of costs, if they were paid by the end of the reporting period. If all these costs were paid by the end of the reporting period, then you could even merge the salary with the social security and the tax. But you have to pay attention to this if one of these costs is not paid by the end of the period. In that case, then you would have to split it, because only costs that are paid must be and can be reported. But again, this is quite a specific also situation. So please do not hesitate to check with your controller. In the case of Spain, you also have the additional step of validation. So do not hesitate. You can also check this with the Spanish ministry, the validation body that will have to validate your financial report after it is certified by the controller. So do not hesitate to check with them as well.
Thank you. Again, for staff costs, so I think we've got quite a lot of questions, mainly on staff cost. It's the point of attention of today. So which evidence of work in each period should be uploaded beside task assignment letters? So again, supporting documents for staff cost. Yeah, Ola, if you want to have a word about that.
Sure. You have to obviously upload an employment contract. As you said, the task assignment letter. We also need a document that would identify the real salary costs. So the gross salary and employer social contributions. It could be, for instance, a payslip or some accounting documents. You need a proof of payment. What you don't need is timesheets. We do not request it from you anymore. You have this list in the program manual in the under staff cost chapter. So if you forget, you can, or after this meeting, you can go there and you have the entire list of what is expected from you to upload in the report when you're submitting it to your controller.
Thank you. So yeah, again, you can check out the program manual. There are a lot of information there. And whenever you have a doubt, it's good to have a look at it. And most likely you'll find also your answer there. So then we have a question from Antonino. So should costs for external people for the projects be reported on staff cost or external expertise and services cost? Ilaria?
Yeah, so costs for external people must be reported under external expertise and services. Only costs that for people that are directly employed and paid by the partner organization, so that they are on the payroll of the partner organization, that there is an employment contract with this person, then they can be reported under staff. But costs for external people, they are under external expertise and services.
Thank you, Ilaya. All right, so let's go to another question from maybe Antonietta. Okay, there is another one popping. Okay, so Wim, according to our internal rules, we cannot pay hotel and flight strains for stakeholders because they're not on our payroll. So what do? We pay them for their participation in the international events. The amount we pay is the amount of the cost they make for hotel flights. Oh, okay. And then there are other messages. Apparently, there is a big story about it. All right, I think we'll see a bit in return also this question, as it seems quite specific. Our colleagues behind will take these questions and have a look at the different messages so that they can have the full story. So let's go back to staff cost, and we have Antonietta who is asking, how should we proceed to determine the total monthly salary? Yeah, Ilaria.
Yes, so thanks, Antonietta, for this question. Actually, Antonietta's question was also included in the registration form. And if I remember well, in her question, she was wondering how to take into account the salary from the yearly salary, whether we had to take into account the calendar year or the or simply the year, the financial year, sorry. I think Antonietta's question was going into the direction of what to do to calculate the hourly rate. And she was probably referring to a staff cost calculation method that we had in the past. So now Antonietta is much easier because we only have the fixed percentage method. And what you do, you basically establish the fixed percentage. It is documented in the task assignment letter. And then this percentage is applied to your salary that you get every month. So your salary month that is visible on the payslip, and you really apply this percentage to the monthly salary that the employee get every month. So you do not have to worry anymore about determining an hourly rate. There is no more hourly rate. You really take the percentage of your monthly salary you get every month that is documented in your payslip.
Thank you. Then about supporting documents, Anonymous is asking which documents form must be attached to the financial report. So the forms provided by the program or in national language provided by the national controls. So the format of supporting documents, I guess, and in which language? Ola?
Here, I'm not sure to which forms you are referring to. Do you mean the control report and the control checklist that are filled in at the moment of the control? If yes, this is filled in English in the system by the controller, and then it's generated automatically, will be generated as a PDF, so you don't need to upload that. Other supporting documents, maybe you mean the subsidy contract. The subsidy contract is already in the system. The partnership agreement, this might be a form that you have used, the template that you have used from our website, or a different one. You need to upload it in the form that was signed that would allow the controller to certify that you have this partnership agreement. You mean maybe the task assignment letters, they need to be in English understandable for everybody, because the working language is in English. So if you have two versions, you are free to upload both versions. What other forms, Ilaria? Am I forgetting something?
I think in general, because if they refer to national forms, then maybe you could also check with your national authorities if there is anything specific. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I think you covered.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we still have more or less 10 minutes. We might stay with you a little bit longer to answer a bit more questions. But as I said before, don't worry, we'll take anyway all the questions in written. We don't have time to go through all of them. So then another question from Antonino. We need some indication about procedure and timing related to receive resources by the lead partner. Ola, can you take this question?
Sure, I will start a bit before the moment the lead partner transfers the resources. You know that all your reports have to be included in the joint progress report that is submitted by the lead partner to the secretariat. Then the secretariat is checking the report, asking the lead partner some questions if there are issues that are not clear. The moment the report is approved, it goes to payment, and then we pay the total approved amount of the report, total eligible amount, to the lead partner. And the moment the lead partner gets the payment, they are supposed to, as soon as possible, pay their partners. So as soon as possible, they receive the money, the lead partner is supposed to reimburse the partnership in turn.
Thank you. I'll stay with you, Ola, a little bit more for the next question. When is the reporting deadline, as there is no possibility to submit yet? So again, related to the portal at the moment and the deadline.
As I said before, we are working really hard to make it possible for the partners to submit the financial report to the controller before the end of October. Then you know that the official reporting deadline for the first joint PR is the 1st of December. Due to our delays, we have communicated to you that we are postponing the deadline until the 1st of February. What we are encouraging you to do, in case we are earlier, for you to submit earlier, we will be communicating with you about any possible earlier developments, earlier deployments of the new version of the system live. And if we manage to have the joint progress report online earlier for you, we will inform you so that you could submit it earlier if you are ready, so that in turn you could get reimbursed earlier. So we will be communicating on that further.
Thank you, Ola. And yeah, we'll let you know what's are the latest developments and what we are up to with the portal. So then we have some questions again about supporting documents and if they have to be numbered. Ola, maybe also on how it works in the portal.
This is a typical thing that I would discuss with your first level with your controller, because this is the controller will be checking the supporting documents. So it needs to work for them. What we always say is to make sure that the name of the document is meaningful. So whether the controller wants the supporting document items to be numbered, to be discussed with them. We only say be clear when naming the documents, so that together with the tags and the upload date, it would make it easy for the controller to check the documents, to find the relevant documents.
Thank you. Okay, so then we have a question from Umberto. In case of changes of the staff engaged in the project, so name, percentage of engagement, salary, how such an information should be provided, and are timesheets for staff still needed? Ilaria?
So this is also something, information that you should share with your controller. So you should check with them how they want to handle this. If there is other people working in the project, if the percentage must be changed. But again, as we said before, this should remain quite exceptional and very well justified. So these are information that you should provide to your controller. So we would invite to check with them how they want to be informed. And as for the timesheets, no, they are not needed. There are no timesheets anymore to be provided.
Thank you, Ilaria. So yeah, we're already going towards the end of this session. So that's why you can see already popping up the evaluation survey, so that we can have your feedback on this little session. We will stay a little bit longer to answer some more questions, but in the meantime, you can also give us your feedback on this survey. So let's continue. Then Anonymous is also asking a question about staff cost, about personal months cost, in particular regarding the total amount declared, including VAT. What is the correct procedure in order to calculate the correct total amount per person? We have considered the total cost divided in 12 months, multiplied per person percentage. So how to calculate staff costs? Ilaria?
Yes, so to calculate the staff cost, you should take the monthly salary of the employee. So what was paid each month of the period to the person, salary, and so the total gross employment costs paid each month. And to this amount, you should apply the percentage that is documented in the task assignment letter for that employee.
Thank you. Again, another question then on external expertise. What to do if we change a bit our idea? First, we wanted to run a tender procedure in the beginning of the project, but the plan changed and there is a sum reserved for external expertise, but we use it for another point of the project by justifying. So again, on flexibility, Ilaria, you already mentioned a little bit that. Maybe you can give a few words again.
Yes, so yeah, in principle, it is possible if you justify this very well, why the plan changed compared to what you had at the beginning. But again, as I said before, you have to be very careful with costs that are not reported on time and as planned, because we monitor this very carefully for the reasons I also mentioned before. We expect that you stick to the spending plan so that you respect what you had planned to spend in each period. So that's why something like this, yes, it is possible if you justify this, but be careful with postponing spending these expenditures too long, because there is a risk that if the funds are not spent on time, then they may have to be decommitted when we will have the discussion on the budget spending with the lead partner.
Thank you. Then let's keep on with a question from Alison. Can we involve different stakeholders from the ones mentioned in the subsidy contract? If yes, is approval beforehand required? And will the involved stakeholders not included in the subsidy contracts ultimately count towards the indicator? Okay, I think it's more a policy officer related questions, but I don't know if some of you want also to answer.
Well, I think I can comment on the first part. Yes, you can involve different stakeholders than the ones you mentioned in the application form. The list in the application form remains indicative. So if the stakeholders are relevant, they are important for achieving the policy change for your policy instrument, then you can involve them. But I have to be honest, I'm not really sure about the second part of the question and the indicator. So I will invite maybe our policy colleague to have a written feedback on this specific point for the indicator. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Etienne will answer you in written so that we're sure we give you the correct information. So let's go back to financial reporting. So in our projects, there was a partner change confirmed by the GS. Is it possible for the partner who joined the project later, who couldn't perform all the tasks in the first semester, to reallocate part of the budget to the next semester? So reallocation of budget from semester 1 to semester 2, is it possible, Ilaria?
Yeah, I think, as I said before, this has to be justified and it is in principle possible. If the partner joined later, this could be a possible explanation. But again, be careful with this. We expect you to stick to the spending plan as much as possible.
Thank you. Then about flexibility, should the overspending of budget categories be agreed with the lead partner? Should this confirmation be submitted to the controllers? Ilaria, you were the expert of flexibility during our training days, so I'll come back to you for this question.
Yes, in general, changes of the budget, they should be agreed with the lead partner. You should always discuss this with the lead partner, because the lead partner is their job to keep an overview on the on this type of changes. In terms of shifts between cost categories, there is a bit more flexibility now, because there is no longer the 20% ceiling that applies to the shift between cost categories, but still also they have to be justified. They have to be useful and needed for the project and in line with the activities as planned. So you should discuss this always with your lead partner. And we know that sometimes controllers also ask for the confirmation of the lead partner on certain changes, because it's also they also check your reporting, your expenditure, if it's in line with the application form. So yes, discuss, get the agreement of the lead partner, and be ready to show this to your controller if needed.
Thank you. So we'll come back to a bit more portal-related questions now with Anna. If we have the option of uploading zip files, it would be easier for the controller to handle the files. Can we upload files zipped per staff cost, staff standard procedure? And I will take the other one at the same time, Catalina. For supporting document section, should we scan and upload documents individually? So the format of the file, zip files, and should we scan and upload individually? Ola?
So I will take Anna's question first regarding the zip files. So for now, it has been decided not to use the zip files. We use the tagging system, and we try it out to see how it works. The zip files would make it impossible to use the tagging system. We want the documents to be there. We have no control over how the files are organized within a zip file, so it could create even more confusion and more work for the controllers. So for now, it is not foreseen to add the possibility to upload the zip files. We will see. We'll be monitoring the situation, and we'll see how it goes. And then regarding the upload of the scanning of the documents here, I would also discuss it with your controller how they want the documents to be scanned, if they have a system already. So if they want, for instance, all the documents regarding a certain procurement to be scanned together in one PDF, this is totally fine for us. See with your controller the goal of find a system with them so that it's then easy for them to locate the relevant supporting document for and link them with the reported costs.
Thank you. Okay, so we still have 2 more questions to answer. So from Anonymous, for staff costs, are only activities carried out during normal working hours considered for reimbursement of costs, or is it possible to pay for activities outside working hours? Ilaria?
So for this for this question, to be honest, I'm not sure why you refer to working hours, considering that there is no, I mean, to calculate the staff cost, we are not longer looking at the working hours in order to calculate the hourly rate, or there is no longer a need to register and record the hours spent on the project, because as I said before, there is no need for a time recording system, no need for timesheets. So basically the percentage that is documented in the task assignment letter is applied to the salary that was actually paid each month of the period to the employee. So I think we have to shift a bit from the hours mindset and go into the percentage of the working time that is applied to the monthly salary paid to the person working on the project.
Thank you. And for the last questions, we also have Anonymous asking about the task assignment letter. Should we sign it at the end of the semester to be reported in order to be in line with the spending plan, or should it be signed at the beginning of the semester to be reported as stated in the program manual? Ilaria, to finish?
It should be signed at the beginning of the semester as it is indicated in the manual. It is quite important that it is signed at the beginning to confirm and what will be the involvement of the person in the project. So yeah, follow what is in the manual. That's usually works well.
Thank you, Laria. So yeah, again, the advice is to have a look at our program manual. We'll also provided the link on the chat, and you can have a look at all these useful links. We'll also send everything to you so that you know where to look at. Well, we have answered all of your questions, and some of them maybe were not taken live, but you can also have a look at the dedicated web page on our website with the Slido page appearing with all the answers. You can also look back at this session if you want, as it is recorded. And we also want to invite you to some upcoming events that we are organizing. So there will be a policy learning platform meetup with projects on the 8th of November. So the registration is open, and if you want to know more about the policy learning services, that is a good opportunity to do so. Then we have also announced the dates for our annual event, Europe Let's Cooperate. So it will be in Antwerpen in Belgium on the 20th and 21st of March next year. So keep these dates booked in your calendar. It will be a good opportunity to network, to meet us, to meet new partners, and also to launch with us the new call. And finally, last words about Regio Stars competition. We actually have one of our projects called Green Screen, which is a finalist in the green category. So if you didn't look at this competition yet, you can have a look at the Regio Star platform. And in the green category, you can go to Green Screen project, have a look at this project, and we would really appreciate if you could give it your vote. So that's for Regio Stars. So, well, thank you very much to all of you for your questions, to all the colleagues who were involved. We wish you the best for your project implementation and for your financial reporting, and see you very soon. Thank you very much. Bye.